what you did.
Oh, hello there. My name is John McAfee.
Inside that home, Gregory Farr was shot once to the back of his head.
Before he was murdered, Fall complained to authorities about his neighbor, software security pioneer John McAfee.
I'm John McAfee. I'm the guy that's accused of murder.
The extremely messy true story of John McAfee and his strange demise. A new Netflix documentary, Running with the Devil, The Wild World of John McAfee, tries to make sense of a confusing and ultimately tragic life.
Where are they taking you, John?
To jail.
Say the name John McAfee, and to most British readers, all that will conjure up is the computer pop-up of the McAfee Antivirus program that he invented back in the 80s. So far, so Silicon Valley. But as covered in a new Netflix documentary, Running with the Devil, The Wild World of John McAfee, there was much more to McAfee than a desire to rid your long-suffering computer of some pesky malware. From being a fugitive wanted for the murder of his next-door neighbor in Belize, all the way to his extradition for tax evasion, his drug-fueled benders on super yachts, and the belief he held that he was being hunted by national armies and drug cartels, the whole story is complex, messy, and almost unbelievable. Much like McAfee himself. You really don't know what's truth and what's fiction, says McAfee's ghostwriter in the documentary, and that's one of the many problems in telling his tale. But who was the real John McAfee, and where did it all start to go so terribly wrong? First, some background. McAfee was born on an American Air Force base in Gloucestershire in 1945, and his father was reportedly an abusive drunk who died by suicide when McAfee was 17. After getting a degree in math in 1967, he went on to be picked to work at NASA on the Apollo program. He then moved into the tech world with jobs at Univac, Xerox, and Computer Science Corporation. While at Lockheed in the early 80s, he started to pick up on the rise in computer viruses and how they had the potential to destroy the industry. He created an antivirus software that could detect a computer virus and remove it automatically, which he named VirusScan. As it was one of the first antivirus programs on the market, he launched his company McAfee Associates off the back of it. By the start of the 90s, he was making an estimated $5 million a year. Mergers with Intel followed, but McAfee started to show his impulsive, reckless side when he badmouthed the company for changing the name to Intel Security, and the companies demerged as a result. He became the original Silicon Valley dude, attaching his name and money to many startups. Tribal Voice, which included the first ever instant messaging site, Powwow, Zone Lab, Quorum X, Future Tense Central, and Cognizant, to name just a few. He eventually joined the cryptocurrency gold rush, becoming CEO of MGT Capital Investments. In July 2017, McAfee predicted on Twitter that the price of one Bitcoin would jump to $500,000 within 3 years, adding, "If not, I will eat my own dick on national television." But all the big money deals he was making masked his increasingly erratic behavior outside of the boardroom. His outspoken behavior started to catch up with him. After claiming to Fox News in 2019 he had paid no tax since 2010, other charges in the US against him started to build up. a civil lawsuit after 2 deaths related to his involvement in an aero trekking accident. Aero trekking, FII, is a sport in which kite-wing tricycles are flown at low altitudes, sometimes just a few feet off the ground, as well as a DUI and possession of a firearm charge in Tennessee. He has spent a lot of time in Belize in a mansion he owned on Ambergris Caye Beach, but he claimed to have been targeted by the police, especially when he was arrested for unlicensed drug manufacturing and possession of an unlicensed weapon again. But it was the murder of McAfee's neighbor in Belize, Greg Fall, that turned him into a fugitive. According to a local in the Running with the Devil documentary, McAfee and Fall had fallen out in 2012 over the behavior of McAfee's 4 dogs, which were harassing Fall's parrot. McAfee's dogs were poisoned and killed, and a day later Fall was found dead, with 1 gunshot through his head. As reported by Reuters, McAfee believed authorities in Belize would kill him if he turned himself in for questioning. Belize Prime Minister reacted by denying his claims, calling him paranoid and bonkers. This is the point in the film where 2 Vice journalists inexplicably join McAfee on the run with his then-girlfriend Sam, after the website inadvertently revealed his hiding place by publishing a geotagged photo in an article titled "Where with John McAfee Right Now, Suckers?" They've traveled with him to Guatemala, where an increasingly paranoid McAfee believed he was being targeted by the National Army and anyone else who happens to be walking past. He was arrested for illegally entering Guatemala and was due to be deported back to Belize. That's when he faked a heart attack and he flew back to America after being released, where he jumped straight back into the party lifestyle in South Beach, Miami. With 2 failed runs for president in 2016 and 2020, hey, if Donald Trump can do it, he named himself as a libertarian, advocating amongst other things the decriminalization of cannabis, an end to the war on drugs, and a free market economy which does not redistribute wealth. The film covers McAfee's descent into a mental health meltdown. Had he installed keystroke technology onto authorities' computers so knew they were after him? Was the drug cartel out to get him? And did he really kill his father and fake his suicide as his on-tape suggestion? It only gets murkier and murkier. His death. In 2019, McAfee was on the run again, this time from the US government. On October 5, 2020, he was arrested in Spain on behalf of the US Department of Justice for tax evasion and a fraudulent crypto pump and dump scheme. He resided in a prison in Barcelona until 23 June 2021, when the Spanish National Court agreed to extradite him to face charges in Tennessee. Just a few hours later, McAfee took his own life in prison. However, this was not the end of the story. McAfee's ex-wife, Janice McAfee, believed it was not suicide. She also points to the tattoo that McAfee got 2 years before his death, and of which he tweeted, "I got a tattoo today just in case. If I suicide myself, I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm." He had also made comments that he had information on those in power and threatened to finally expose the truth if he was jailed or died. As it stands as of August 2022, according to Reuters, his body remains in a Spanish morgue a year after his death, and a legal case by his ex-wife to demand further checks is yet to be resolved. We asked the director of the documentary, Charlie Russell, about what he wants people to take from the wild story. His response: I think that John is someone who is difficult not to like, and he lived his life in a way that's quite intoxicating. I think we'd all like the idea of jumping on a speedboat and evading the authorities, sailing off into the sunset, he explained. Ultimately, I think John teaches us to accept humanity in all its flaws. Forget Tiger King. Software billionaire John McAfee lived the world's wildest life. Crazy facts of John McAfee. 1. He could still be alive. In his last years, McAfee often took very young women as lovers, some of whom were prostitutes or otherwise led very tough lives. In Belize, his girlfriend was 80-year-old Samantha Herrera, and he took her with him when he fled Belize for Guatemala in 2012 after killing off his neighbor Gregory Fall. When McAfee was deported to the US in 2013, he left Herrera back in Belize. He landed in Miami and the very next day hired a prostitute, Janice Dyson, whom he would later marry. Dyson was still his wife at the time of his death, but it's Herrera we see at the end of the film, telling director Charlie Russell that she got a mysterious call several weeks after McAfee's death. She said it was John and he told her he paid people off to fake his death and is now living in Texas. Is it true? Herrera comes off as more convincing than you might think, and Russell says he doesn't know. 2. He might have secretly killed his own father. Alex Cody Foster, a ghostwriter McAfee hired to write his autobiography, plays some tapes of interviews he did with McAfee and doesn't even realize their significance until the cameras are rolling. Foster says that McAfee told him his childhood was miserable. He watched his drunken father violently beat his mother and endured his violence personally as well. One day when John was 15, his father shot himself dead. Or did he? We hear McAfee's voice on the tape. I want to change the world. I want my children and grandchildren and your children to have a better world than us, where we have some love. He says, and there's a certain humanity. This world I've lived in, growing up with a father who broke my arms and abused me to the point where it was unbearable, abused my mother to the point where I did something about it. Foster, looking shell-shocked, addresses the camera. Wow, I never remembered that. I didn't know he said that. I feel like that was an admission right there. 3. He could have been a contender for an Oscar. Had the early coding gig not worked out, McAfee might have given Marlon Brando some competition in the acting department. When he went to the Lamb to Guatemala from Belize, McAfee was arrested for entering the country illegally and was in some serious hot water. But as always, he had a scheme up his sleeve. While the federals swarmed his hotel in Guatemala City, McAfee alternately smoked cigarettes, played the flute, and kibitzed with his girlfriend Uncle, a highly contended attorney. Oh, and he also chased that moment to the purpose to Herrera. But then we see McAfee being whisked off in an Interpol van, and the next thing you know, he's on a gurney being taken to the hospital because he had a heart attack. Only he hasn't really had one. He faked it with great success. Guatemalan officials washed their hands off him and put him on a plane to Miami. He said later that he had played the crazy card. It was a deception, but who did it hurt? I look pretty healthy, don't I? He added, everyone was looking for me and they did not catch me. I escaped, was captured, and They tried to send me back. Now I'm sitting in Miami. There had to be some ineptness. What's a better story? Millionaire madman on the run. 4. He admits to having wanted to kill his family during 3 lost months of drug use in the 1970s. In the 1970s, while married to his first wife, Lindsay, the mother of a daughter with whom McAfee was photographed when she was young, but whose identity he always kept secret, McAfee began doing heavy drugs and drinking. His wife finally left him and took their daughter to his mother home in Virginia. According to No Domain, the John McAfee tapes, a collection with Scottish writer Mark Eglinton, McAfee overdosed on DMT, the powerful hallucinogenic and so-called spirit molecule, and lost contact with reality for 3 years. I was going to kill my mother, my wife, and my baby daughter because God had told me to. He told Eglinton, "It's important that you don't judge me here, my friend." In my mind, this was the only thing I could do. 5. His widow is almost as much of a character as McAfee himself. Janice Dyson was 34, older than most of McAfee's women. When he stopped her outside a cafe in Miami and paid her for a day and night of sex work. Dyson had worked as a prostitute for more than 10 years. Before McAfee, her most steady relationship was with her violent pimp, and she rarely saw her son. She was refreshingly honest when he asked if it was love at first sight with McAfee. No, I just saw an opportunity, she says. Dyson says in the documentary that when her pimp found out who McAfee was, he introduced her to cartel bosses who wanted to kill him, and she acted as a paid spy for them for a while at her pimp's behest. She said she continued spying on him after the 2013 wedding, finally confessing everything to him. The couple, who are seen dancing, joking, and sometimes shouting at each other, lived in a gun-filled Tennessee mansion before relocating to the Dominican Republic, where they were arrested for gun possession, and then to Spain. She has shown the same flair for paranoid melodrama as her late husband. In December 2021, she posted a peaceful photo of a beach with palm trees. The text read, "Since John's death, there has been an effort to guarantee I would not make it to my next birthday. Also, I believe the ultimate goal is to ensure that I do not leave Spain alive."